Okay, so today we're going to talk about how a bill becomes a law. So make sure when you're doing this one, you do this on your standards paper. Like, don't do this on a flashcard because, well, we might do it to a flashcard later, but I wouldn't do it now if I were you. But I would find the standard 8.3.6 and 8.3.7. That's where I would probably look at, and I would look at the effect mostly and not the cause. I mean, the cause you can probably do later once you have the effect. Now, this is going to be a long process, so I might talk fast. I might not go through everything. It all depends on like how long it's going to take me. So we'll see how it works out. Okay. On your first slide, basically stages of how a bill becomes a law. Okay, so as you're going to see, you could do this two ways. You could either answer these questions through watching that I'm Just a Bill song, or you can just basically follow this. But before a law becomes a law, it becomes a bill first. That's what it's called. So it's called a bill. Now, a bill can start in any house, okay? It can start in the House of Senate, or it can start in the House of Representatives. It's whichever place they want to make a new law, because that's basically what a bill is. It's a proposed new law. So let's say they make a new law saying if you, I don't know, what's a new law we could come up with? You have to be over the age of 25 in order to drive. Okay, so let's say so-and-so wants that law. If they want it, they write it in a bill, and then they talk about it, and if they like it, they vote on it. So that's basically what it is. They make a bill, they see if people want it as a new law, they vote on it, and if it approves in one house, then it has to go to the other house. So once it starts in one house, it then goes to another house. So if it's in House of Representatives, it goes to House of Senate. If it's House of Senate, it goes to House of Representatives. Either way, it has to be approved in both houses. And when it's getting approved in both houses, it can change. It can add things. They can say, okay, you only have to be 25 to drive if you're a boy, and if you're a girl, it's 22. I mean, they could do a lot of different things. Either way, it needs to be approved by both houses, okay? So once a bill is passed in one house, then it heads to the other house for an approval, and so then everybody's happy, okay? Once that happens, then a bill must go to the president. So once it goes to the president now has a choice. They can either sign it or not sign it. So if he wants to sign, you have to be 25 years old in order to get a driver's license and drive if you're a boy, and 22 if you're a girl. If he or she likes this, all they got to do is sign the law, or sorry, the bill. Once they sign the bill, it becomes law. Pretty simple. It's very easy. Now, is it usually that easy? No, it's never that easy. Maybe the president might say, man, 25, that's a long time. We're going to have a lot of people who can't work, who can't drive. What are they going to do? Walk? You know, are they going to like start riding horses? You know, what's going to happen, you know? So he might say, you know what, I don't like this bill. And so what he'll do is he'll veto it. Now, if he vetoes it, veto means I don't like it. And when he doesn't like it, that bill just gets set back to whatever house it started in. And it could do two things. It could, one, A, die. Okay, that's one thing it could do. Or it could be the Congress or the House of Representatives or House of Senate could say, you know what, we want to keep working on this bill. And just because you veto it doesn't mean it's dead. So that's basically what happens when it comes to making laws. People make the laws in the House of Representatives and the House of Senate. The president signs it, and if he signs it or she signs it, it becomes law. If they don't, well, then it has to go back to the house that it just, you know, that it was born in, as they would say. Okay? So now you're probably asking yourself, well, what happens when this president vetoes his bill? Well, when he vetoes the bill, he's basically keeping the legislative branch in check. Here's that whole checks and balances thing again. He's making sure, or she's making sure, if we have a female president, that Congress isn't making laws that are just crazy. Like, I'm sure many of you who are listening to this don't want to wait till you're 25 in order to drive. Then you're never going to be able to go through a drive-through, and you're never going to be able to eat late at Taco Bell. See? Told you, Taco Bell comes up. I'm going to try to do Taco Bell in every single presentation. That's right. You McDonald's lovers, too bad. We're talking about Taco Bell. That's the way it works, okay? As for the rest of you, that's what the president has the power to do. So that's the way each branch keeps each other in check so that not one becomes too powerful. So that's why he or she is vetoing the bill. Now you're probably saying, wow, the bill doesn't become law. What can Congress do to, let's just say, check the president? Well, now you get to the second part, okay? Basically, what Congress can do is, if they really, really want to pass the law, if the House of Representatives and the House of Senate say, man, we want 25-year-olds to drive because they're just not taking driving seriously at 16 or 18, then what they can do is vote on the law again. But when they vote on the law again, it can't be majority like wins. So, for example, if 59 people want it and 50 don't, it's not just that, okay, it's approved. You need a 2/3 majority must agree, which means 66% of the people in both houses have to say yes. If you don't get 66%, the law dies, or the bill dies, I should say. So basically, Congress can check the president if they want, but if they're going to check him or her, they got to make sure more people say yes than just a majority of people say yes. So basically meaning the first time around, it was just, okay, how many want it? You do? Okay, great. How many don't? 59 want it? Great. 50 don't? Passes. Simple. Nice and easy. But when it comes back for the second time around, it can't be 59-50. It's got to be like almost 60-30 or 60-40. You got to get a lot more yes votes the second time around if you want to check the president, okay? And this is how the legislative branch can check the president if they think the president is being unfair. Now, has this ever happened? Yeah, it's happened. It's happened many times. So it becomes kind of like a game of poker, president versus the legislative branch. If the president knows that he's going to get checked if he sends and vetoes a bill, that president might just sign the bill anyways because they know, well, if I send it back, it's going to get passed anyways, and I don't want to look bad, okay? However, if the president doesn't think that the legislative branch can check him or her, then they'll veto it. So it becomes like a game of poker. And the same thing with the legislative branch. If they know the president's going to veto their bill, they might not send it up to him or her. They might try to fix it and work with it so that the president doesn't veto it. So it kind of becomes a game of poker between the two to see who can check who and who has more power. Okay? Now, you're probably saying, well, what does the Supreme Court have to do with this? Well, remember, that's the blue category. The Supreme Court can check the legislative branch if a law gets passed and it seemed unfair, which means it goes to court, and if the court say, law's unfair, just like they did to Hamilton, can't do Alien Act, can't do Sedation Act, violates freedom of speech, sorry, the Supreme Court can then check the legislative branch for saying stop passing laws that are unfair. So probably this whole 25 years old to drive, they might say, can't pass that law, because if you're passing that law, you're kind of maybe violating young people's rights or whatever. So you see these branches check each other because we don't want one branch becoming too powerful, because we're always afraid of the K word. So you guys can tell me tomorrow, if any of you got no for the extra credit, what is the K word, okay? We're always afraid of something becoming a K word. No, it's not a Kardashian. Nice guess though, okay, Charles Lee, but no, not that. All right. Now, you're probably asking on your standard, on the second part of your standard 8.3.6, what can people do in order to make new laws? Well, this is what they can do to make new laws. Basically, they can write to their senators and form these things that are called lobbies or lobbyists or organization special interest group. You can become part of a group, and when you become part of a group, this group will help you change laws. Okay? And that's probably where we're going to stop today, and we will figure out how that all works tomorrow.